Hey, listeners, this is Kurt and Chris from the future, actually. We just finished recording this episode and realized there's a lot of baseball talk. Yes, there is a lot of baseball talk. You do not need to know about baseball to listen to this episode. So please do not skip this episode. Hang with us. We'll get there. Right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Chris, we're going to talk about baseball today. And I know some of our fans just reach for the pause button. uh Fans, listeners,
Yeah.
if you were reaching for the pause button or the skip button, hang tight. We're going to talk about baseball in a way that ties emotional health and emotional maturity with the sport that Chris and I love.
Hey there. Welcome to Live Fully, Lead Authentically, a Brimstone Coaching Group podcast. I'm Chris Godfredson, co-founder and leadership emotional maturity coach with the Brimstone Coaching Group. And I'm here today with my friend and co-founder, Kurt Bush. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Chris.
That
I'm happy to
sounds like,
talk about
yeah.
I'm
You're
happy
happy
to
to
talk
talk
about
about baseball today?
baseball today. Yes.
Why are you happy to talk about baseball today?
Well, number one, we're going to talk about a team that both of us don't really like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
some struggles, which feels a little good. That feels a little good. And I think then we're going to talk about like a real life example of how the work we do makes teams and organizations better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. And at the moment, at this time of recording, your team is on a bit of a heater.
Were on a bit of a
Oh,
heater.
falling off.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
lost at 15.
Okay.
They set a franchise record, or they tied a franchise record at 15,
Yeah.
and then lost the 16th, which is fine. You know, we're definitely not going to go back to losing. We're definitely not going to go back. It's okay. Everything's okay. The sky's not
So,
falling.
so what I thought when you said now it's falling off is that they lost six in a row or something. They lost
No,
a game.
they just lost again. Chris, listen, I am baseball fan delusional enough to think when a win streak stops, my brain is like, we're never going to win another game again. Like that was it. And just remember, worst team in baseball, like 2 months ago. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying, there's a part of me that's guarding my heart a little bit. You know, like let's
Mm.
not get too excited about this. Let's see how the next month goes.
That's interesting. That's an
Yeah.
interesting segue into the conversation. And part of me just wants to hang out there for a little while and ask, why are you guarding your heart?
Yeah. Uh, yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna answer that. I'm gonna answer that,
okay.
and then I'm gonna set up our scenario.
Great.
You've seen Ted Lasso, yeah?
Yeah.
There's a scene, I think it's in season 2, where the team is, or maybe it's season 1, I don't remember. The team is facing relegation. If the team loses the game that they're playing, they're going to be relegated to a lower league. And
Yeah.
at halftime, Ted Lasso comes in and he looks around the room and everybody's heads are hanging. And he said, "Hey, there's this saying that's been going around here. The saying is, it's the hope that kills you."
Mm.
And Ted Lasso goes, "And I just don't think that's," in that like endearing Ted
Yeah.
Lasso voice. And I just don't think that's right. You know, it's like, I think it's actually the hope that makes us alive, you know, like that
That's
kind of
right. Yeah.
sentiment. And
Hmm.
I think on the summer stretch, in the dog days of summer, I look at my baseball team and I get a little bit of the "it's the hope that kills you," Chris. I get a little
Oh,
bit of
yeah.
that with my team.
Yeah. Well, that was June for me.
Yeah, the June swoon.
Yeah, it was real.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, so,
that's the guarding the heart. Yeah.
okay. I love it. So tell us what prompted. So this is your idea. It wasn't
Yeah.
my idea to talk about baseball. So all hate mail goes to Kurt at brimstonecoachinggroup.com. He's actually the pod king. Anyway, so leave your comments in whatever platform you listen to us
Mm-hmm.
on. We'd love to hear those, but this is really a necessary conversation today. I
Yeah.
think it, because it applies to every human being, whether you like the game of baseball or you abhor it.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, that's a great setup because this really isn't about baseball. This is a scenario that I saw happen. I was not watching the game because I hate this team, but I saw it in the
Right.
in a highlight, and I texted you. I'm like, I want to talk about this because it really isn't about baseball. But here is the situation: the LA Dodgers had, again, we hate this team. The LA Dodgers have a rookie catcher. And this rookie catcher, his name is Dalton Rushing. He's had a rough go this year. There's been no shortage of times where Dalton Rushing is in a headline for his either reactivity. I think he's, by all measures, he's a fantastic baseball player. But
Well, he made it to the major leagues.
yes, he's a
That's
fantastic
not nothing.
athlete. Yes. By all stretch of the amount, or by all measures of metrics, by everything baseball people look at, he is starting for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Fantastic athlete. He's been in the news a little bit for some reactivity. There was one game in particular. He did what baseball folks call showed up his pitcher by sort of reacting with some body gestures that made him appear as though he was telling the pitcher, "You got to get your stuff figured out here, pitcher." And the pitcher just happened to be the most famous and maybe the best player in the league, Shohei Ohtani. Happened to be Shohei. So, of course, this is bigger headline because of who he's quote unquote showing up. And he's made some comments about other players. He's kind of lost his cool with some other players. Well, after this particular moment where he quote unquote shows up his pitcher, Shohei Ohtani, he's sitting in the dugout. And Freddie Freeman, sorry, Chris, I know it still hurts.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's
okay. Freddie is a veteran player, and you know him better than I don't know Freddie Freeman real well as a player, but he seems to be like one of the team leads. Yeah,
yeah. He's a genuinely likable human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Freddie comes over to Dalton Rushing and sits next to him, and I think literally puts his arm around him. And
Yeah.
Dalton Rushing is beating himself up. He's got his head down, kind of in his hands. And Freddie puts an arm around him and starts talking to him. And not in a, sometimes baseball can be kind of harsh. Sometimes players can be kind of harsh to each other. This was not a harsh moment. This was, by all vision looking in, not being able to hear what they're saying. It looked like kind of a beautiful moment. A little bit of veteran coming up to a rookie, likable guy coming up to a rookie saying, "Look, man, there's some stuff here. You're fine. We're going to figure this out, whatever."
Yeah.
Then the manager of the team comes over and kind of does the same posture. And by all stretch, it kind of it warmed my heart a little bit seeing a Freddie Freeman walk over and pour into this kid. But then after the game, Dalton Rushing gets asked in the clubhouse about those conversations with the manager, with Freddie Freeman. And here's the thing. Here's the quote that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
He said to the media, he said, "I'm a grown man. It's embarrassing that I should need someone like Freddie Freeman or Dave Roberts to help me like that." The sentiment is, I should know better. And I'm embarrassed that I needed them to come help me that way.
Yeah.
And my heart sank when I heard that. All my feels fired for Dalton Rushing when he said that. So I want to talk about that quote, not as an indictment. Certainly this is not a roast a baseball player podcast, but
no.
I also don't think Dalton Rushing is the only person that feels this way.
You are correct. So when you hear that, when you hear Dalton Rushing say that as he's being interviewed in the locker room or in the clubhouse after the game, and your heart sinks, what are the things you're feeling? What would you say about that?
Yeah, I think the immediate feeling was I felt empathetic at what seemed like a heaping dose of shame.
Yeah.
You always say should, or in this case shouldn't, is an indicate we don't need to should on ourselves. This is an indicator of shame. So I think there was this immediate empathy of man, be kind to yourself,
Yeah.
that was the immediate response of, like I kind of want to give this dude a hug, you know,
Yeah.
like be kind, be compassionate to yourself. That was the immediate feeling of like, oh, don't
Yeah.
do this to yourself, you know.
Yeah. Yep. And
What's
it's
your immediate
fascinating,
response?
right? Well, yeah, my immediate response is, again, pre-pod, while we were talking about this and you brought it up again, I'm like, yeah, I mean, why is bro shooting on himself? And and then what I think is, well, he doesn't know what he doesn't know about
Yeah,
a lot of things, right? And here's the deal about baseball and life. It it's such a game of failure, air quotes.
yeah, yeah,
And the kid maybe never failed, right? Because he's not even very old.
yeah,
He probably was so much better than everyone else he played with that he was used to success all the time. And so if
yeah,
you hit 450 in the minor leagues and they call you up and you're starting for the Dodgers when Will Smith is still there, like this is a little bit wild.
yeah,
And he's, I think the thing that I wonder about is like, what were your first formation experiences like? What was your childhood like? In how formed are you? We talk about this all the time, and our friend Ken Schumann helps us think about these things in terms of like every human being was formed.
yeah,
And every human being is continually, I think, shaped and formed, whether we know it or not. And so I should be this far. Who has never said that?
yeah. Right.
Neither of our hands are in the air. So we have not arrived, listener. And those of you who are frequent flyers here realize that we understand fully that we haven't arrived. And so for Dalton Rushing to think that he has somehow arrived, I think, is a shame response.
Yeah.
At the very least, it's an anxious response.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I think the comment you made, we don't know what we don't know. I mean, I think that my immediate, like what I would ask if I'm sitting across from a room from Dalton or across the table from Dalton Rushing or a client who says I should or shouldn't do something.
Yeah.
I mean, the first question is always why?
Why
Like,
do you think that?
have you spent a lot of time playing starting catcher in Major League Baseball before? Like,
Yeah.
why do you think you should? And why is it embarrassing? You know, like
Yeah.
I think it's so important to remember. I was talking to a person who does a parenting podcast, which is crazy that someone invite me to a parenting podcast. I feel like I spent
Well,
most of the time saying, "Well, listen, I'm not a psychologist." You know, like
yeah.
anyway. You know, this person has a couple toddlers, and I've got a couple teenagers, and you know, like how would we expect? It's just an easy example. How would we expect someone with toddlers to know what to do with a teenager? You've never done
Right.
it. You've never been
Right.
there, and I think so much of this should boils down to the like why how should you know those things?
Yeah. Yep. I I think those similar questions stir in me when I think about that too. Like where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And what are the things that informed that way of thinking?
Yeah.
What are the things that informed that way of thinking and behaving earlier in your life that now that this has become patterned behavior?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So here, and we understand this to be true. I mean, several things that I might say. I'm trying to decide what I want to say at the moment, but we have come to understand that those things that we do early become autopilot. We just do them naturally, and what they've done is they were a way for us to have that experience of feeling safe because we didn't. And so
Yeah.
when you react or you blame or complain or defend yourself against a teammate or against an opponent or with the umpire or with your spouse or with your siblings or whoever they are, that's coming from a place of needing to feel safe. And in a game like baseball where it's so highly failure based, anymore, if you get a hit 2 times out of 10, you're a success. It used to be 3. I don't need to talk about how baseball has digressed here, but regressed to, yeah. It's all or nothing here at the home run derby. I'm struck by how people who have figured out, at least to a degree, ways in which to deal with failure, where that's absent in a case like this or in a situation like this where, you don't have all of the information. You obviously don't have all the information, or you wouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And with that being the case, then how do we help you get to a place where you understand yourself enough to be able to explore? Is this the way I want to be?
Yeah.
And it's not about should or shouldn't. It's about, well, this is actually what is happening for me in real time, and I don't need to. I'm actually safe.
Yeah. The word embarrassing is such a strong word.
It is.
Right. And I think when you talk about I'm safe, in contrast to the feeling of embarrassment or the feeling of, I'm less than in this moment because I need help. Those are such contrasting postures, the safety versus the threat of being seen as not enough or feeling as not enough.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And, I just wonder if Freddie would have said, look, when I was a rook and I struggled, Chipper Jones came and sat down next to me and put his arm around me and said, like, it's okay, buddy. Like, you got here for a reason. Keep going. Yeah. And there's something about that where I think every human being needs people like that. Yeah. And who have gone before us, who are willing to step up and say, like, look, I wonder, like, I'm seeing this. I see this happening in you, and I want to speak life into you, and I want to invite you to think about how, is this how you want to show up?
Yeah.
You can keep doing it. That you can keep being this way, but at some point you can't be that way here.
Yeah.
Right, where Dave Roberts didn't send him back to AAA.
Yeah. Yeah.
He put his arm around him and they had a conversation. And I don't know, when you texted this to me, right? And I'm well documented of saying this on this podcast, but I would show up in gymnasiums where my kids were playing games and have promised to my wife, like, I'm not going to blow up at the officials tonight, even though I have this mental model that there's no such thing as a good referee.
Yeah.
And then I would do it. The first missed call, which is like 8 seconds into the game, because referees.
Yeah.
And more because what I didn't know about injustice and the things that stirred in me when I felt like there was injustice in the world, and when I had these deep emotions that were going to control the next hour and a half of my life. And I shoulded on myself, left and right and upside down and backwards, but until I finally understood where that was coming from and why it was what it was, it just kept repeating itself over and over and over again.
Yeah, Chris, it's interesting. You talk about this idea of being formed. You talk about this idea that there are reasons that we're doing these things. I always like to remind people, whether it's Dalton Rushing or it's just the listener going into their job today, people don't show up like this because they wake up and they say, you know what, I just want to feel a bunch of shame today. Or, you know what, I just want to like have this embarrassing moment on, well, I wouldn't say it was embarrassing. I want to have this moment on national TV, you know? Nobody
or I'm just gonna blow everything up today because I can.
Yeah. Nobody wakes up like that. There is a reason, and I think here's the beauty in that. Here's the good news. If there's a reason that got us there, that means we can undo it and get somewhere different.
Yeah.
Like Dalton. I'm not trying to pick on Dalton Rushing, but for the sake of the example, he's gonna get to do this again. You talked about, baseball being a sport of failure. Like, this is going to come up again, and he gets to try it again,
Yeah.
And if the listener walks into a conference room today and lashes out or gets defensive or clams up or whatever it is, there's going to be another meeting, Yeah.
Yep.
I think the beauty of it is if there were things that got us here, that means we can take steps to let different things get us to tomorrow, metaphorically tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I love that so much. I love how you've said that. And for me, at the very least, like with that one example, I was going to say our friend Dalton Rushing. That's not true. This guy who plays for Los Dodgers he's going to have ample opportunity. And in that one experience, he had two different encounters. One with a trusted veteran, the other with his manager, both who are leaders in that organization and in that system. Yeah. And what he does with those encounters, and then what he does in reflecting upon, there's the hint, what he does if he happens to reflect on what happened with those reporters in the clubhouse after the game, there's actually an opportunity for him to show up differently the next time. But I love how you're holding up for us the idea that we have some say in how we be in the world, right?
Yeah. Ken Schumann, again, our friend Ken. A lot of shout outs to Ken today.
Ken, two of them anyway.
Ken would say it like this: just because this is how we were formed, it doesn't mean this is who we are, right?
Yeah.
That formation gets us to where we are. This is not who we are. This is not like if I lash out in a boardroom, that's not who I am. That's maybe how I was formed, but that's not who I am. And I think that just rings in my head in this whole conversation. Yeah,
me too, right? Because it's like unwritten baseball rule number 17: don't show up your teammate.
Yeah.
So he did something that he was guilty of.
Yeah.
And guilty says I did something bad. Shame is a whole nother vibe, right? And shame says I am bad. I shouldn't need other men to do that. I shouldn't need somebody else to tell me how to behave with my direct reports or with the person with my supervisor. I don't need anybody. I shouldn't need anybody to tell me that. It's coming from a place that says, like, I've fully arrived, and we would say, no, actually, that's just information.
Yeah.
You have some information that you can think about, you can consider, once you see it, you can't unsee it, and that is the place where now there's choice, there's agency, to be too clinically sounding, but the reality is anytime we can see something and we actually make time to reflect on it, we might be transformed, right? Showing up in the world a little bit differently. And for me, I think this is the power of what we call our the Brimstone transformational equation: encounter plus reflection equals transformation. And so often we just fly by it.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there beating himself up in real time for having shown up his team. Yeah. And he had two, let's call them wise guides for a minute. That feels like a stretch when we're talking about Dave Roberts. But when a wise guide comes along and says, hey, like, I want to hold this up for you to consider. Okay, can we actually make and take the time to reflect on what happened?
Yeah.
And then, this is what he did was it was a patterned response, right? He learned how to do this earlier in his life, I imagine. Wouldn't you say?
I would imagine. I mean, I don't know that any of us do things that we haven't learned or formed,
Yeah.
And that's not an indictment. I mean,
No.
I still do things that are so
Same.
deeply ingrained in me that I wish weren't as ingrained in me. Yeah, I do think it's rooted somewhere in the past. I mean, here's the other thing that stands out to me. We have another friend who will say anxiety makes us stupid. And it doesn't mean that I'm stupid. It makes me do things that I wouldn't normally choose. That's how I hear that. It makes me default to patterns of behavior that I wouldn't normally, in my best thinking, do. This story for me, this example has maybe one of the clearest like costs of anxiety. Again, anxiety being an emotional response to a threat, which obviously sitting in this dugout, this man is having an emotional response to a threat. Anxiety had the potential to rob these moments with like veteran people who, journeymen, is that the right word here? Journeymen that like could have a real impact on learning, on career. And I think this happens too in corporate world. Like I get a chance, I make a mistake and I get a chance to learn from someone who's ahead of me, and I get a chance to be encouraged from someone that's ahead of me and has gone before me. And if I'm stuck in that anxiety, I miss the chance to be encouraged. I miss the chance to learn. Like there's a tangible loss. I don't know. Would you agree?
I agree with that. Yeah. I think I would say I agree 100% with that idea. But the thinking that gets us where we are, it doesn't always help us move beyond that, right? So to think that I don't have anything to learn, and what I would call them is Hall of Famers. They will be Hall of Famers. They're, journeyman has another connotation in my spirit, but they too have figured out how to deal with failure. When I think about journeyman, they have been on 17 different teams. Do you notice how I always grab that number, 17? Because that's the number. It's like using the word interesting. It's the word we use when we don't know what else to say.
17's high enough to be shocking, but low enough to be real.
Yeah, exactly. I think so. Maybe. Anyway, when we think that we have all the answers, or that I don't have anything to learn here, that's when this kind of thing comes out, right? Yeah. And again, I think there's something has to be behind that or under it that's undergirding a belief that says, I shouldn't need that. Well, we all have blind spots. We are all in need of feedback. We're all in need of the practice to like just stop, pause.
Yeah.
Can I think for a moment and even and reflect on what's happening in me, ask myself some questions and observe people around me, what they're trying to do, rather than, and so you talked about anxiety makes us stupid. What happens is we just lose access to our best thinking. Everything narrows, and then we just get stuck in this way of being, this way of believing about ourselves, this way of behaving that Oh, it's yeah. To your point, early, way back at the beginning, it's like it just made you sad to see this happen. And yeah, I mean, I don't like it for people either. And I know that it still happens for me at times too. Why did I do that? Why did that get me going? Right.
Yeah.
And it's because that inevitably something is tripped at the least opportune time.
Yeah.
And if we've never given thought to the fact that I could show up in the world the way I want to, I actually can, because I've thought about it. I've noticed the encounter, I've reflected, and I've made a promise to myself to behave differently in the future, ways that are aligned with how I prefer. If I never do that, I'll keep doing what I have done.
Yeah. I mean, I think a couple things just you said stand out. I mean, certainly my empathy and sadness was not from a place of like, oh, I wish he had it figured out like I do. And I didn't hear you say that. I didn't hear you say that. But I maybe just want to clarify that. Like, this is from a place of like, oh man, I just, I wish it was different. But here's the other thing. I don't think that this posture of, Dalton Rushing, I have to know these things by the time I'm a major league player, or I have to be better than this, or I should be better than this, is not different from a lot of leaders we talk to. Like this is another iteration of the mental model that says the best leaders have it all figured out. The best leaders don't need help. The best leaders have the answers. They're not seeking answers. They are the ones people come to for answers. Like, I think this is like an exact, like, one for one from the sports world to the business world to the leadership world.
Yes.
This is how it plays out. And then, there's always this contrast of, I'll go back to Freddie Freeman again. Like, how long has the guy been in the league?
A long time.
A long time.
I don't know. 15 years probably.
15 year Hall of Fame bound for sure. And the contrast is like there's no shortage of videos of him on his knees taking like little one hoppers off the grass, practicing what you would have an elementary school kid practice. Like there's no shortage of those contrasts. And I think it just, to me, it translates so well to the world that we swim in. We're not baseball people. We love it, but we're not baseball people. But it does translate into this world of like leaders have to be put together. Leaders have to have the answers. And I just, I maybe just want to say again how much we want to push on that and reject that.
Yeah, the conversation is riveting. And as it relates to leaders that we talk to and that we work with on a daily basis, you are spot on. And this thinking that we've arrived, we have it figured out, that there's no mistakes. We talk about this, right? Practice does not make perfect; it makes progress. And I think I want to say that just because we practice a way of being, or because we make a mistake, we don't show up the way we want to, that is not an indictment on who we are. It doesn't have to be, right? So I might do something that does not align with who and how I want to be, but I can clean up my mess. I can step back into how I want to be rather than how I practiced behaving for my entire life, because back to your point, we have some say in what we do. And this is the work that we have given our lives to. It's the work that we do with people all the time. And if somebody listening is connected to Dalton Rushing and can get my phone number to him, we should have a conversation. But other than that, if anyone listening to this conversation and it resonates, you're like, oh, I've been sitting in this shameful place and I see it, but I don't know a way through it. How would you invite them to connect with you or me?
Yeah, the easiest way is our website. It's brimstonecoachinggroup.com. There are a couple links on there that people can schedule. Listener, you can schedule a free, no obligation call with either Chris or myself to think about if our approach and our philosophy to these conversations is a fit for where you feel stuck or where you feel unable to take steps forward. Again, free, no obligation. We'd love to have that conversation. Just to be clear, would you work with an LA Dodger?
I would.
Okay, it's on the record, folks.
It is, especially if his name was Freddie Freeman.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't know. I've had similar kind of conversations with other teams, political parties. Yeah. I am an equal opportunity human when I think about my deep desire to help people be all that they can be and not try to be something or someone that they aren't. Right.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. And that's the work we love to do. It's the work we get to do. And, thanks for the conversation today, Kurt. Listener, thanks for being with us. And I look forward to our next episode.